for American region. Yes. So very glad to have this occasion to meet you guys. You are key leaders and key talents to our organization. And this is a time we reserve for you and your development. And maybe before we start, you can quickly introduce your name, your location, what's the native language you speak, and your role. That's it. Okay. Don't speak too much. We will leave time to our wonderful tutor and facilitator today, Rian. Okay, should we start with Eric? I see your name in the first.
My name is Eric. I'm located in Raleigh office. My native language is Mandarin. I came from Zhongli, Taiwan. I joined Delta 27 years.
Okay, your role?
My role right now is a sales director.
All right, good. Joseph, Riley, right?
Yes. Well, first of all, I need to apologize. Somehow my camera is not working. I actually went in and get the error code. Yeah, I'm gonna have to work on it later. So, name is Joseph Wu. Very nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Well, my native tongue is Mandarin. I've been with Delta 22 years. I'm here based in Delta Raleigh. Actually, Eric and I were in the same office. My role is sales, working on the day force for the IARBU. Thank you.
Thank you, Joseph. Paul?
I am Paul Sartori. I work out of the Plano office. I work from home, out of my home in Frisco, about 30 minutes from there. I am American. My native language is English. And I work for Maurice Lee on the U.S. National Sales Team.
Hello. Yeah. Okay, Mo? We cannot hear you.
Hi, now you can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so my name is Mohaj. I'm based here in Michigan, in Detroit area. I've been with Delta for 7 years, as of 2 days ago, actually. I'm the director of sales for automotive components. I mean for CPBG, FMVG products. And again, I've been with Delta for about 7 years.
Okay, good. And what I see now is Kirk.
Yep, Kirk Jing here. Fremont office, legal department. I guess I speak English and some degree of Mandarin.
Welcome. Then next one is Julia.
Hi, this is Julia. I'm based in the Fremont office. Same with Monica, Stephanie, and Kurt. Did I miss anyone? Yeah. Anyway, I'm logistic manager. So all the import export operation, we are supported. This mainly is the sales team, and then we work with the legal a lot because for the warehouse contract, those stuff. I'm with Delta 24 years. Yeah.
Okay. And then I have challenge to make sure I, pronounce the name correctly. It's really very challenged. Is Ingar or Inga Dice? Hello.
I think she means Igor Diaz, maybe.
We cannot hear you. No sound.
Igor, you are muted. I don't know if you have a mute. I unmuted you, but it's there you go. Well, all right, you're unmuted. Oh, do you have your microphone? Do you have a microphone on your computer? You might have to use a different, might have to go down to the mute button and choose the computer microphone or another microphone. Well, we'll probably skip you for now. Maybe you can work on that.
Right. Michael Wang.
Okay, this is Michael. I'm located in Los Angeles.
Hi.
Sorry, my video is not working. Actually, never worked since I received it. Okay. Yeah. So I'm the head of the Delta service team. Report to IN, and I mainly work for EISBG, but also cover the service for other business unit. I joined Delta since 1994. It's quite a long time ago. Yeah, my mother language is Mandarin.
Great. All right, next one. Alolos. Am I pronounced correctly? Alolos. You need to unmute. No.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, good now.
Sorry. I had some issues with my headphones.
Yeah.
So I am Álvaro Oliveira from Brazil, from Delta, Brazil.
Yeah, great.
So I work for Delta since 2015, I believe.
Okay, great.
Before I was part of LTech.
Great. Yeah, so this training program is a whole America region program. Yeah, we have people join from all of the office in America region. Welcome you. All right, so anybody I missed?
Can you hear me?
Yes, good.
Okay, this is Edgar Diaz. I'm based on Mexico City. I'm responsible of sales from Mexico to Panama, and I have been working in Delta for years. And my main language is Spanish. Yeah.
Okay, great. All right. I apologize. I probably missed anyone. You just open your microphone and jump in.
Hi, yes, this is Zoom Trong from the Delta office in Plano. So a quick introduction. I've been with Delta here in Plano for 14 years. Part of that is with LTech. I manage the quality organization and the service organization here.
Great. All right, so probably we have everyone, and we do have Stephanie, who is responsible for our learning and development for whole region, that very important role. As for today, you know, when we plan the training and development, we start with leadership. We know that if we do the leader in right, and we do basically everything right. And shadowing program is a very powerful way that we do want to introduce to you that this is a very easy and straightforward way that make our learning very easy and can happen every day, everywhere, with anyone you think. As long as you open your ear, you open your eyes, you can definitely learn from a lot of people. Personally, because my job is always in human resource function, that I meet a lot of leaders. I do, you know, leverage this shadowing expertise and the skills. I steal, you know, leadership competency from the leaders I work for. So cannot wait. I want to introduce our facilitator, Rian. I know some of our Freeman, colleagues already have very good past experience with her. So Rian, I leave the time back to you.
All right, good morning and welcome. This is a wonderful, powerful program for you that Monica and Stephanie have developed. And we're going to really leverage. I heard 24 years and 7 years and all of the years of experience you have. So today I will expect you to share some of that experience today. This is not, obviously, I don't have all the answers and all the information, but what you have to share today will be very important in this activity. It is being recorded, the program, for those people who could not attend today. And we will get started. Be sure to ask questions and participate. It's not a lecture, it's an activity. Can all of you see the PowerPoint? If you can, just give me a thumbs up. See, you can see my screen, great. And my volume is loud enough, let me know. You can send me a chat if there's a question or there's anything that is unclear. So I love the word shadowing. What does that mean to you? What's the idea of a shadow and how is that different from mentoring? A lot of people say, oh, is leadership shadowing like mentoring? I think it's a little bit different and a little bit more. So we'll be talking about that today, but have you ever shadowed someone, maybe as you were onboarding in an organization, maybe in your first week on the job? Have you ever shadowed anyone? Anybody here has done this before? Anyone? You can just always put it in chat too. You don't have to speak up. Anybody? All right. Nobody? No thumbs up? No shadowing?
Shadowing the wife counts?
I didn't hear you. Shadowing what?
The wife.
The wife? Oh, well, I think we can learn a lot from our partners. Yes.
Okay.
All right. Maybe even our children, right? I don't know about you, but my children teach me a lot about technology.
Sure.
So today we already did our introduction, so we'll be skipping that. We'll be talking about what is actually leadership shadowing. What does it have to do with you? Why are you here? You were selected as part of the first round of people who are involved in this shadowing program. Many benefits. What are the skills we're looking at that Delta knows that we need now and in the future? Because let's face it, none of us know what skills we're going to need in the future. Now with, AI, all of the different technology that's coming in, artificial intelligence activities. What is your learning style? Hopefully you all took the VARC assessment, or maybe you already know that I learn by watching, I learn by hearing, I learn by doing. What is your style? And then what are you going to do after today? Because you will be expected to actually take steps to make this program work. And how are you going to be successful? You will be partnered with someone, hopefully someone here today, that will keep you accountable. Are you working on it? What are you doing? Are you meeting with the person you're shadowing? What skills are you developing? How are you doing? Where are you getting stuck? How can you get unstuck? And then we will meet again in a few weeks, actually in October, to see what's working, what's a success. If we roll this program out to more and more people, more leaders at Delta, what can we learn from your success? And what have you learned? So we already introduced ourselves, but did you all take the inventory, the VARC, whether you're visual, auditory, you learned by reading or writing, or you learned by doing? If you did take the assessment, could you put it in chat? Do you know how to go to the chat at the bar at the base of Zoom, click on chat, and all you have to do is write the letter. You don't have to write the whole word. V for visual, A for auditory hearing, R for writing, or K for kinesthetic. All right. Oh, a lot of Ks coming in. All right. Oh, okay. K and V. V is the number one for most people. Most people are visual learners, and second is the K. So that's what's coming up so far. We see that. And that's important to know, not just for yourself, but for the people you lead. Because a lot of us as leaders, we tell people what to do, and then they don't do it right, and we're frustrated. We say, hey, they didn't get it, because they're not auditory learners. That's not the way they learn. They need to see it, and they need to touch it. Thank you. Those of you, you can still put it in the chat. So far, all Ks and all Vs, no As and no Rs coming through. So think about how has this learning style helped you to learn to become a leader? What did you do? Did you read books? Those of you who are visual, did you watch videos? Did you watch other leaders? Those of you who are Ks, were you given a project that you had to find a problem, solve a problem? I noticed some of you are in the automotive. At least one person said they're in the automotive area. I worked for Toyota for over 10 years, so I know a little bit about automotive and putting a car together, all the parts, all the pieces. And I actually learned by watching a lot of videos on watching people learn. How did they learn, especially assembly line workers? Very kinesthetic. The topic today is leadership shadowing, and we'll talk a little bit about what that means, what it is. Think about a shadow. Any of you have ever walked little children and they see their shadow and they're fascinated by it, because this is me. All of us put out a shadow when we're walking, depending on the angle of the sun, but we also put out a shadow at work. How is what we're doing, how we're behaving, what we're saying, how we treat people, how is that a shadow that follows us everywhere we go? And the best leaders know the importance of that shadow, because it actually stays there after they've left. People remember your shadow, what you left behind. The reason this program was started is because shadowing is a very powerful tool, and it helps people to become successful. We know that a lot of leaders, people today, a lot of people will be retiring in the future. We want to make sure we have bench strength. We want to make sure we have leaders ready to take over higher level positions, more people to supervise, higher level thinking projects. So this program is going to help potential leaders or people who are already leaders but want to move up to higher levels. They're going to watch how leaders spend their time. What do they do? How do they make decisions? How do they interact with the people they supervise, the higher ups, up, down, and across the organization? What kind of relationships do they forge? We know that when people like you, when people trust you, you have easier communication. People will tell you things that are important, not hold on information. People will help you to look good because you make them look good. So this shadowing program helps you to develop your strengths, gives you a chance to ask questions like, I have a trouble with this kind of an employee. How can I handle that better, differently? What would you do if you were in my place? And just watch, maybe attend a meeting, maybe watch them at a conference, at a presentation, maybe sit in with a difficult client or a client that we want to land that we don't have yet. Just watch what they do, what works. It helps us to build the leaders we want to have, to instill the strengths we want to see. It helps us to share what works and what doesn't work in your organization. Every organization is a microcosm. It's a different culture that we learn how to work together. And it also helps people to stay in their jobs, because when people think they're learning, they stay. We have a saying in learning and development: people are either growing or they're going. You have to make people think or know that they are actually learning on the job and becoming better versions of themselves. So when we say leadership shadow, that means we're casting a shadow. Means you are very influential. All right. And let's see, what is this shadow dance? All right. Okay. Giving me a little trouble. Oh, sorry. I always do that because I don't have a TikTok account. So let me just try that one more time. I'm on TikTok. All right. Okay, this is giving me a lot of trouble. So the bottom line is shadowing is following in someone's footsteps. And I'll send you the link. You guys could probably watch it. I don't know why, but it just gives me a lot of trouble because it's on TikTok and I don't use TikTok. So that's probably why. But bottom line is when somebody's dancing, they're following along. They're doing what that person does. So when we shadow someone, we're saying, I noticed that when my leader talks to this particular person, he starts with a friendly conversation instead of just getting right down to work. That works with this particular person, this particular client. So by shadowing and watching what someone does, you're in sync with them, just like dancers are in sync with each other when they perform a routine. So I asked this question in the beginning and I didn't get a lot of responses. I'm going to put you in a breakout room so that you're more willing to share with each other. And I'm going to do that right now. Take a look at the screen. You're going to share an experience that you've had with another leader. How did you learn from that leader? Did you sit in on meetings? Did you have informal coffee chats? Go out to lunch? Did you go to that person when you had a problem? How did you know that person would help you? What did you learn? And how did you make it a successful relationship? So I'm going to put you in a breakout room right now. Hold on 1 second. There we go. And there will be 4 to 5 of you in the room. I'll give you about 5 minutes for each person to share one learning experience from shadowing or being mentored by or participating with another leader in a decision making. How did you learn? I'm going to open up all the rooms. Go ahead, click on the room, click on joining, and I will be in and out of rooms to help you. Igor, can you see that's up? There you go. All right.
That's what they do.
Do you hear me?
Yes, good.
Okay. Yeah, I shadow a guy many years ago, mainly when I was like presenting my work, what I did, like, and he analyzed in his way, and so I learned how this guy was looking like important points and defining what is important and what is not in many different situations, in different opportunities. So I learned a lot in that way.
So what's the particular part you think very critical? Can you repeat again?
When I had like something to do and I present this for my manager at that point, and his way of analyzing my work. So I think it was like a formal meeting to present my results. And then he was analyzing and pointing out the important points that I made or I missed. So I started learning in that way. I think was a
Wow, great.
good way.
Yeah, great.
Because he was a good guy, actually, a very, very good guy.
All right, Kirk, anything you want to share?
I think for me in past lives, let me put this here. I think for me in past experiences, it's been useful to watch, I guess, people with more seniority work on documents and things. So you can see what kind of changes they make in, you know, how they're reading things, how they're reviewing things. You know, I guess it's just literally looking at them read something, but it's more useful than I thought it would be.
Wow. So any particular occasion that make you very impressive?
I mean, I guess at one time I was looking at someone do work, and you know, they're using a lot of fancy Microsoft Word tricks to make things more obvious for other people. And you can also ask them why they do that, and they can explain, and you know, that makes a lot of sense.
Great. Yeah. I remember a occasion that I tried to, because I was working as compensation specialist back in that time. So I tried to explain some tax implication and the reward the individual leader should receive or expect to receive in the future. And there are lots of scenario and factor, etc. And then after like 15 minutes explanation, and she just told me, Monica, are you saying, you know, in this way, 1 + 2, and then I can get this X. And if I choose, you know, 3 + 4, and I can get Y. And I just shocked that she explains things in a very simple and straightforward way. So that makes me, you know, I quickly learn from her. And here after that occasion, I learned from her, always think about how to simplify the way I try to explain something professional.
Yeah, so what I heard already so far is feedback, asking and being open for feedback. I love the observing, seeing what changes somebody made on a document, and then also technology, you know, learning how people do things technically, but simplifying them. So I think those are all great skills. Those are all great skill sets that leaders need to have today. So I'm going to pop out of your breakout room, and I'm going to be closing the room in a minute, but be willing to share, maybe one of you, share the most important aha from the most important best practice with the rest of the group when we come back together. All right, we are back. I just paused the recording so that people don't have dead time when they're watching the video. We're back. Let's share one best practice from that session you had with each other. And the session I was in, we had 3 best practices. So let's just quickly summarize. What was a best practice? Who will share? And I know who you are, so I might have to call on you if you don't share. So room 1, we had Eric, Michael, and Mike, and Julia. And Stephanie. Who will share one best practice? Unmute. Don't all talk at once now.
Share. Erica, okay. Or you want to share your experience with Dave?
Oh,
Dave
yeah.
is a very
Oh,
good.
okay.
Yeah, I think I can share.
Too.
Sorry, I
Okay.
think I can
Like-
share because I have no chance to share during
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have to say, in my Delta career, I have really good managers, right? So they, every time when I look at managers, so I'm looking for help, right? So they actually respect, they're listening, and they provide the help, which means, they give the solutions if I asking them, right? So this is a very good sample of shape, like to the team. I'm actually doing the same thing to my coworkers. So that's the thing I want to share.
Wonderful. So knowing who to ask for help, how to ask for help, and making sure that person is going to be a good help for you, give you good advice. Wonderful. All right, we had room 2, and I'm sure I'm hoping I have these names right. Alois, Joseph, Kirk. That was my room. We had good information on feedback, asking and being open to feedback, even though it might hurt. Somebody might say, you know, that presentation needed a little humor. It could have had a little, you know, you could have done more with the PowerPoint or some demo or get more people involved. So you want to hear that feedback. And then what could you do differently next time? What would make it better? How could you make it better? So getting feedback and being open to it, even if it hurts. I thought that was very good advice. Kirk, what else would you add? I know you talked about looking over, reviewing documents and seeing what people change to understand what's important to include.
Yeah, I think I talked about that, and you know, a lot of technology tricks you can learn from people just doing them real time, and you could even ask them why they do it and get a good, you know, good summary of why.
Yeah. And I don't know about you guys, but I've been watching a lot of Instagram videos that show you how, like I use Excel a lot, and they'll show you like a trick. And I'm thinking, wow, I have been spending a lot of time trying to figure out how to do this. And they had give you one command and it does the whole thing for you. So I definitely think there's, you know, if people show you it and you can slow motion it, or if they can make you do it and then you watch them do it, I think that's a great way to learn. All right, one more from room 3. We have Edgar, Mo, Paul, Zhang. I'm not sure I'm saying your name right. Zhang, sorry.
Hi, this is Edgar. Well, in summary, we learn about our previous leaders by the example, share time with them, and obviously we learn about the growth decisions that they take. Well, this part of the comments.
Yeah, I love that. So you learned about the decisions that they made, and you also learned like what decisions not to make, right? Or sorry, I'm going the wrong way there. Sorry.
Well, one other thing I'd like to add for our group was that you know, it doesn't have to be work related. You know, we talked about parents and you know, coworkers, but out of the office environment, as far as whether you know, you call it shadowing or mentoring or whatnot. So there's other aspects that's non-work related that you can learn from.
I really appreciate that. And especially with the younger generation, those of you who are leading younger people, they want the flexibility, they want to have time with their family, their social events. How do you make them feel, you know, maybe even have a discussion about their time management or their families, even just asking about their families sometimes could build that relationship. So yes, absolutely. It doesn't have to be work related. It could just be how I handle the pressure of work at home. Very good. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, I can add something here. You know, I worked for 11 years at Ford Motor Company, and they have a lot of programs. And one of them was basically letting people enroll in the Dale Carnegie, you know, how to make friends and influence people. They have several different modules, but it was, we'd go to an independent area, a building, whatever office, and it was over several weeks. And you have different people from different organizations. Like you have people from Walmart, from different companies, all from different segments. And you interact and you discuss. That was very beneficial. And they were different levels too. Some of them were presidents, some were, you know, mid-level management, etc. So to me, it made a big difference, that one. The Dale Carnegie course. I don't know if any of you enrolled in it or not. But
yeah, so many places to learn. We got Dale Carnegie, you have Fred Pryor, you have Stephen Covey, you have all these fancy Center for Creative Leadership. All of them have web pages too, where they have videos and reading. So you don't always have to go to the training. And nowadays you have things like Coursera, LinkedIn Learning, you have video training. Any way you want to learn, you can do it. And the nice thing about today is you can do it over time. It doesn't have to be 7 days. You can do 15 minutes a day, watch a TED Talk and on leadership, and you can learn so much. But I love that. And even team building, taking your team out for bowling just get to know each other and what makes people tick. Sometimes that makes a big difference. Thank you for sharing that. So why are we doing this program now? We know that people like myself are retiring, getting to that age where, you know, it's time to go. And we need to make sure that we have the people ready to take over leadership roles. We do know that many generations are working in the office together. Just double checking my sound there. Many generations are working together. So people who were originally going to be retired by now, they're in their late 60s, 70s. People are staying at work longer. Those of you who are leaders, don't ask people when they're going to retire. We don't do that. But you might want to ask them what their plans are for the future. And how are they making sure their knowledge doesn't walk out the door? Do they have documentation? Have they showed someone? Have they created a video or a step-by-step procedure of this works with this client? We're talking about logistics, which are changing every day, right? With all the things going on in the world, you never know how a hurricane or, you know, a shortage of a metal is going to affect your business. How do people know how to handle that? We also know that, especially in Fremont, the Bay Area, and I don't know how it is in the other places where you are, but we know that talent comes at a great cost. You know, we've got the Facebooks and the PayPals and people paying a lot of money for their talent. So people will leave for more money, but they won't leave if they're feeling really happy and satisfied in their job. And this leadership shadowing will help motivate them to stay. We do need that people need to know as much about other areas as possible. So we need to cross-train. When you're choosing a leader, I just did a study the other day. I read a study about a lot of people choose someone like them. I'm going to choose somebody who's like me. And that's almost a mistake, because you want to choose somebody who's a little bit different. Like, how could you learn from this person? And you don't want to choose anybody who's perfect, because we also learn from other people, watching them make mistakes, you know. So it doesn't have to be a perfect person when you choose someone to shadow. We know that this is a low-cost program. We don't have to send you to Dale Carnegie for 7 weeks. That's pretty expensive if we sent everybody. This is a one-on-one. And we do know that it's going to improve. It's definitely going to improve our work environment. So lots of benefits for everybody involved, the leaders, the people who you are shadowing, your organization. The nice thing is it's going to open up doors. You're going to meet people. You're going to network. You're going to build relationships. So just a quick review. Monica wanted me to include, Monica and Stephanie talked about Delta's competencies, how you're evaluated, what we're looking for in leaders. And I'm sure you have this list, just a quick overview of what area do you need to work on. So maybe look at this list and ask yourself, you know, I'm pretty influential, but, you know, maybe I could be more inclusive. Maybe when I'm hiring, I could make sure I interview people that maybe don't speak Mandarin or something, you know, just figure out ways where I can improve my inclusivity or even my interactions with people who are of a different culture. And also maybe learning, maybe I have to do something. One of the biggest learning experiences I ever had in college was my professor asked us to read something we would never read, you know, so I think I read like Mechanics Illustrated, like go get it, you know, something that you would never look at, and ask yourself if there's anything in that you learned that spoke to you. And I was really surprised, because I was majoring in business at the time, and I was looking at the marketing and I was looking at the ads, seeing like, wow, they really target the ads for this paper. Very interesting that you can learn from every experience you have. So what steps are you going to take after today? Thinking about choosing someone to shadow, make sure that person is willing to be on board with the program with you. How much time? Do they have time? Do they have the skills you're looking for? Once you choose the right person, meet with them and really hammer out, how's this going to work? Are we going to meet once a month, once a week, every other week, on Zoom, over coffee, over lunch? Where are we going to meet? How are we going to meet? And then what are my expectations and what are the other person's expectations? So by the end of these 5 or 6 weeks, what we have, I'm going to have better people skills, or I'm going to have better time management skills, or I'm going to be able to make decisions without losing sleep over them. You know, what is it going to, what are your expectations, and what are the expectations of the other person? Like, this is only going to take 15 minutes of my time, or you're going to sit in on my meetings, and then if we have time, we'll talk 10 minutes after the meeting. If not, we'll talk next week at our one-on-one. So make sure we know who's doing what and when, and what kind of support do I need? Can I call you every hour during, you know, at midnight, or are we only going to have work-related time together? So I love that, you know, we talked about outside of work. Are you going to go out and have dinner together some night? Is that something you can do? Or go to a movie and then talk about it? So what's your plan? Talk about your learning style. Let the person know, like, I'm a visual learner. I need to watch you. Can I see you in a meeting? Can I watch you present to your team? Can I sit in on one of your one-on-ones to see how you handle a difficult employee? Again, you have to be careful there, because the employee needs to be involved too. But if you do it correctly, you know, sometimes even the one-on-one, someone appreciates having a third party in there. And then talk about how you're going to grow, what you're going to do. So I'm going to stop here. I want you to think right now about something you've done that has helped you be a better leader. One thing you do or have done. So for me, I read a book on tape every week. I go to the library. I pick something fun, like garbage to read, you know, like love story. And then I pick something that is going to help me be a better teacher. So this week, well, I have a whole bunch of books here on my desk, but this book this week I have, and so I usually do a tape and then I get the book, but this is How Can I Be More Resilient in Changing Times? And I also have this one, which I highly recommend. I sent this an Insight into a Bright Mind. It's on neuroscience and how people's brains work and how we could connect better with people understanding how they think. So that's one way. That's one way. Can we get a couple of people to share? How do you grow? How do you learn? What is something you're already doing that other people could do? So books on tape, I love. Read. Great way to learn. What else do you do? Anyone?
I mean, I do something similar, but I use YouTube, and it depends, you know, what kind of mood I'm in or what time of the day, you know, if I'm walking or relaxing, whatever. And I look for those kind of inspirationals or how to or that kind of stuff. But YouTube has a lot of material that you can find.
And when you find a leader you like Steve Jobs or Simon Sinek or Mel Robbins, those are some of my favorite. And then you can save them in your playlist so that you can have them and share them with other people. So that's great. If you find something great to share with your team, say, hey, I thought of you. This is a great 5-minute video. It helped me. Maybe it'll help you. And people appreciate that because, you know, you're thinking about them. All right, let's get one more because I know we only have an hour left and we're a little bit more than an hour left. And we want to make sure we get through the content, but this is important. What do you do to grow? What could you be doing more of? So what else? Kirk or Joseph or Paul? Suggestions for us? Michael or Mike?
I mean, deadlines are good, you know, gets people to do things on time, gets people on a schedule.
Nice. So setting a deadline, I use my Google Calendar ferociously. I have, you know, my family calendar, I have my tasks, I have my to-do list. I mean, maybe I'm a little bit crazy there, but it really helps me to make sure I don't miss things. I do miss things, but, you know, with a busy life, I think deadlines are great. And for me, I even have milestones. So like right now I have to put together a training program for a company and I'll say, by this day, I'm going to have the objectives. By this day, I'll have the draft. By this day. So cutting it down, helping people, helping yourself to stay on track. Love that. All right, we're going to move on, but think about what you can do that you're not already doing to learn and grow. Next step, you'll get together with your leaders. You're going to have a time. Are you going to get together in the morning, in the afternoon, after work, before work? What's going to get in your way? And I know you guys are all busy. So, you know, people say there's never time to do it right, but always time to do it over. I don't know if you've ever heard that expression. Never time to do it right, but always time to do it over. So there is time in a day, and it will expand depending on your priorities. All right. So a lot of us, you know, like we go, where does the day go? Maybe ask yourself, am I delegating enough? Am I spending time in the right area? So really set those parameters with your leader. And then make sure that when you ask for feedback, you're going to be willing to accept it and that it's going to be helpful. And then the final step will be what worked in this relationship? You know, what worked with our relationship? And, you know, is this person someone that other people should shadow? Am I someone that people should shadow? What did I learn from this experience that I can share with other people going into the program? What went wrong? What went right? And I think that's more important. How did this work?
I have a question.
Sure, of course.
So what's a pool to shadow? I mean, sometimes you have limited people and located in the same organization you're at. So how do we identify who to shadow? Or is it by default is like it's the highest person in your department? Or what?
Yeah. So again, it doesn't have to be someone higher than you. It could be anyone in your area that has skills that you want to develop. It could even be someone much lower. You know, you just that person gets along with people and I want to learn how to do that. It could also be someone in another organization. These days, we might have to meet on Zoom, or it could be someone outside of Delta even. I mean, that we'd like it inside of Delta, but you can also expand like one person, you know, that I know, for example, my neighbor is fabulous with numbers and I'm terrible with numbers. So whenever I have a numerical problem or if I want to buy a stock or something like that, I always check with him. And that's another way. So we hope you have one person within Delta that you could shadow so that you could keep the knowledge there, but you might have other people outside as well, depending on where you're located. And it doesn't have to be up. It could be across, it could be down. It could be equal, someone who's another manager like you, maybe in another location. Hopefully that answers the question. Monica, am I on the right track there?
Yeah, I think because we do want to keep it focused so that participant can, you know, get to got this powerful shadowing in their life of learning. So you may focus on leadership and think about talk about leadership. Who are the leaders you feel, you know, impressed, and you feel you want to be like some part of him or her? That would be a easy way to think about who you should target and think about. And one more thing I want to add is nobody is perfect. So don't look at a perfect leader that you shadow with. It can be, you know, a person who has particularly parts that you think you need. You hear feedback from your colleague, you hear feedback from your supervisor. For example, I hear a lot that people say, I look a little bit serious, right? As a human resource leader, sometimes people want to have more warm and friendship relationship atmosphere with me. I think it's very important for my leadership. So I keep looking for some leaders. They can show the warming, and they always can make the atmosphere very positive and interactive. It just share my thoughts to you more.
So what I hear Monica saying is choose someone that you can emulate, that I really like the way that person handles that, does that, leads that group. And I want to learn that maybe I could be like that too. You know, imitation is the highest form of flattery. So I'm imitating, and they always say you have to fake it until you can make it. You know, try it on, And then people will say, oh, that, that works for you. All right. We don't want you to be somebody you're not. We just want you to be a better version of yourself. All right. So those of you who have already, you guys have already identified your learning styles. I'm going to skip the video for now, just to know that there are, I think it's very self-explanatory. It was interesting that on the chat, everybody in this group is either a visual learner, like we have to see it, we have to see a video, we have to see how something works, or kinesthetic, which we have to touch something. And it's very interesting. A lot of times just having something in your hand, I was reading this with neuroscience, it's like it triggers a feeling because it's a body experience, because touch is the first thing we experience when we're born out of the womb. We can't really see, we can't really hear, right? We can't really smell when we're born, all right? So touch is our first sense, very important as we age. It's our last sense to go away. So touching is really important. So if you give somebody a project to put their hands on, and even using those words, I want you to do this. This is a hands-on project. This is something I want you to see your touch in it. So even using those words, have your people that you supervise take the VARK assessment, and then you know how to work with them better. And you also know yourself better. I'm going to learn more by watching a video than reading a book. All right. Skip too far. So this answers the question that we already answered, but who's the best person? Does the person have the skills you want? Are they willing to help you? Do they have the time? Do they have the energy? If they say, no, my dance card is full, can't help you. What is their style? Is it opposite yours? Is it similar to yours? You decide, what do I need to see? And will they give you honest feedback? Because you don't want somebody like your mom. Like I use this as my mom. If I ever show her something, I'm like, Mom, what do you think? Oh, it's great. Everything's great. No, Mom, you got to tell me the truth, right? Okay. But you don't want anybody like my husband. He will tell me the truth and it's hurtful. Like, does this make me look fat? Yes. No, you don't want that. All right. So you got to choose. You got to decide. How honest, right? So you're going to choose I want you to already be thinking about the leader you could choose, and you might want to have a backup. All right. I'd like to work with this person, but he or she might not want to. So I have to have a backup. Think about that. It's like going to the movies. I know if I call this person, they might be busy, but this person is going to be available. So you want to think about that. And then schedule the conversation. What are you going to say? What do you need from them? How much time are you going to need? Make sure it's very clear. I want to improve my speaking skills. I want to improve my people management skills. I want to improve my ability to get better performance out of my people. I want to improve my sales. What is it that I want to improve? And then make sure that you tell the person, I'm going to put the work in. This is what I will do to make sure that both of us get something out of it. And also think about what's in it for them. They're going to be seen as a role model. Other people will see that you are going to them for their expertise, and that this enhances their credibility, their presence. Again, I just read a book on all the way we could, John Baldoni is the author, and he wrote a whole chapter on presence. I don't have that book in front of me, but I will send it to Monica. Fabulous, just the chapter alone on how to increase the way people look at you as a leader, what you can do, very specific steps. So that's what you're going to say. This is what I'm willing to do. And then make sure that when you do set up a meeting, it's at a good time, good place, you follow through. One of the things I included in this PowerPoint is a sample email. That's something you can send out to the person beforehand. You're going to get a copy of the slides and you will be able to, of course, my neighbor now, you can hear him, right? He's blow drying his car. He's got 2 cars. So sorry about that. You guys hear that noise out there? No? No? All right. I do. Very annoying. All right. So this is just a introduction, what you want, what you expect. And then, for example, we'll have you might want to say a 20-minute meeting, a 15-minute meeting, a 30-minute meeting, or we can meet over lunch. And then this is what to expect. One of the things you want to do though in the first meeting is make it really clear what you want. Make sure that you tell them why, maybe butter them up a little bit. Say, you know, I've watched you in meetings and I love your style. I had a female boss and I would ask her like, how did you become a leader? And she said, you know what? While all my friends were out partying, I was hitting the books. I was studying. I was observing. I was watching. I knew where I wanted to go and I had a plan. And she was very motivational, inspiring. She's like, if you really want something, you need to make it happen. You can't wait for it to happen to you. And I remember her saying that to me. Don't wait for other people to notice you. Carve your path. I remember this conversation and it was only 30 years ago. That's how vivid it was. So make sure that when you have these conversations, is that what are you going to need from the person? And maybe even if it's an introverted person, somebody who needs to think about things, give them the questions beforehand. This is what I'm going to ask. How did you become a leader? What is your best leadership strength? How can you help me to develop my speaking skills, my presentation skills, my sales skills? You don't want to have a lot of questions, but just have them know in our first meeting, these are the 3 things I want to cover. Okay. Also, ground rules. I won't interrupt you. If I come to a meeting, I won't say anything. I'll give you honest feedback, whatever ground rules you're going to have for that person. And then make sure that you have a plan. Check in and then make sure that you're accepting the feedback. Now, here's the thing about feedback, very interesting. Whenever somebody gives you feedback, you should say thank you, whether or not you agree with it. All right. So good example I always use is my daughter will say, Mom, you need a facelift. Okay. You need to do something. You know, your face is droopy. Thank you. Okay. I'm not going to do it, but thank you for that. Thank you for that helpful information. Okay. Otherwise, if you say, you know, if you get defensive, it's like, look, I earned these wrinkles. Leave me alone. That person's not going to give you feedback again. So no matter what it is, whether or not you agree with it, be ready to accept it and then decide whether it's helpful or unhelpful. But if you discourage it, people will stop giving it to you. They're like, oh, she doesn't listen anyway. All right, we're going to stop right here. 3 ways to what activities will help you observe, attend activities such as meetings or briefings, or something that you can do hands-on. I'm going to put you back in breakout rooms just for about 3 minutes. And I want you to think of activities, specific activities. You're thinking of a leader. What could you do with that leader to shadow them? What could you observe? So I'm thinking of sales. I know Dave Morris, is that his name? Dave Morris. He's a very congenial. He's very people, you know, he's friendly, he's humorous, at least my experience with him. So if I were going to shadow Dave, which I would love to, I would want to see him interacting with a customer who's on the fence. Like this customer, I want to see how he gets that customer to commit to the sale, to maybe buy more. I would want to observe that. So I want you to think of what are specific activities in these 3 categories that you can observe. Now I'm recreating the room so you're with somebody different this time. Okay. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and open those rooms up again. You have about 3 minutes. So just look at those. Observe, meetings, briefings, hands-on. What could you do? Go ahead, go into your rooms. All right, we are back. Let's just hear from each group. Room 1, we had Julia, Igor, Joseph, Mike. One activity, one example for us. Unmute or put it in chat.
Okay, so I think we choose the observation. There's an observation doing you know, the working together. We also can learn like Dave always very calm and provide a clear instruction.
Great, yeah. I mean, I love what you said, Julia. Just asking Dave, like, how do you stay calm when someone's attacking you or telling you your price is too high, or, you know, be very specific. Like, what do you do? Right? Okay.
Right.
Nice. All right. Room 2. We
We
have,
choose the same.
go ahead.
Yeah, we choose the same observation.
Observation. Okay.
Yeah, because
Watch
we
and
can.
learn. Yeah.
Yeah, because
I always think of that too. You know, you think about with your parents, you watch your father do something and now you do it the same way, or your mother, and your kids are doing that with you, and the people you supervise are doing that with you. So always remember, your actions do speak louder than your words. So you're always a leader in their eyes. They're going to emulate you. All right. Anything
Yeah.
new from room 3?
Room 3, I think yeah, okay, go ahead.
I'm
Go
sorry,
ahead.
I was going to add something in here.
Go ahead, please.
So prior to COVID, I used to report to Mike Lotfi. He was VP in CPBG, and he retired. But when we used to have semi-annual meetings in Fremont to present to the management, we used to attend. All the directors used to attend. But since then, we don't attend. And to me, whether people like to travel or not, aside from it, but it does take away some of the benefit of being in a room with full of other leaders to observe, because these are very high level stuff. We still have the GSM in Taiwan once a year, but those are the BU, the BG type people, not the local folks. So for me, my recommendation is to re-encourage doing that. Maybe not every director reporting to the VP need to attend. Maybe they can rotate, but every like 6 months, when there is a meeting in Fremont in front of Calvin, to have 1 or 2 people join that, because we're talking about observation. But if you take that one away, that would be the best. I mean, you have the scene of different, all region America, different leaders presenting, and it can be a good learning experience.
Mo, I love what you said, because when we're on Zoom, we only see people from here down. If you guys ever saw, what I'm wearing below my jacket, it'd be a different person, right? I have shorts on and flip
No, we don't
okay?
even we don't even attend the Zoom one. We're not invited to it anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
So very important. I think that's good feedback for your leaders too. We need to see each other. We need to have more contact. Research is even showing now that people need that connection that we lost during COVID. Caused a lot of anxiety, a lot of frustration. So thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
All right. Anything else from room 3? We're going to move on. Anything else? All right. So maybe hands-on, like what Eric was talking about, someone or Kirk was talking about, when someone makes edits on a report, maybe that person explains the edits, or maybe they allow you to do the edits since you're kinesthetic, and then compare. Nowadays with Google Docs, one person can make edits and the other person can accept or reject them. So I think there's a lot of great tech tools that we can use in our leadership training as well. So try to use as many as possible in this future activity you have with the person you're going to shadow. So these are some sample activities. Again, I'm not going to read you the slides, but these were ideas that I found online. What were people doing? Just even sharing an experience I had that taught me a lesson. Think about something. I had a boss. Well, I'll just share very quickly. I was offered a job. This woman offered me a job, but then she said, "Oh, we're going to be looking at other candidates, but I know I want you." And she said, "So I'm going to give you the resumes of the other candidates so you know who your competition is." And that was so unethical to me, that's not the way you do it, right? And I remember that, and she gave it to me, and I was torn. Do I look at it? I did look at it. I admit that, but I wound up getting the job, and this woman was so unethical. She kept asking me to do things, destroy information, anyway, on and on. So I knew from the beginning that she was not an ethical person. I learned a lot from that. And, like, trust your gut. if something doesn't feel right, it's not right. I mean, I learned so many lessons just from that one story. And I share that with my students. I still teach at the college. I teach business classes at the local college here. And I tell my students, you need to know your values. And if someone doesn't have those same values, it's going to be very difficult to work with that person. So those are the kind of stories that we share. Like, what taught me a lesson? What did I learn about myself? What did I learn about other people? So I think it's really important just to even share those kind of experience, something that taught you a lesson. All right. One other thing I want to say from here is introduction. Who can introduce you to someone else? Every job I've ever had, even this one at Delta, the reason I'm working as a consultant is I met Katie Lau, who's the vice president. She was speaking at an event. I introduced myself to her. She wound up hiring me as a consultant. How do we meet people? How do we get those connections that give us opportunities? And maybe you know a leader that could introduce you to someone, maybe a new client, a new customer, a different department that you're having trouble with. Maybe you can work with them better, etc. Okay. So we already talked a little bit about this. We already did our little breakout. Actually, I'm going to go back to that. I'm going to go back to that slides. I want you to think of activities that you could share or stories you could share. And I'm going to actually put you back in a breakout room just for about 5 minutes. What is a leadership story you have? What is a skill that you developed by doing something? So we talked about what you could do. What have you done specifically that really helped you? So I will give you one more example. When I worked at Toyota, I was amazed at the story of Toyota. Some of you don't know that Toyota was actually T-O-Y-O-D-A was the family name, not T-O-Y-O-T. We Americanized it. And that the person who started the company was watching his mother weave, and her fingers were almost getting numb on the weaving, the loom. And he thought, there's got to be an easier way. There's got to be a better way. And that was kind of the impetus for lean manufacturing, always finding a better, more efficient way to do things when he started the car company. And Toyota failed miserably with their first car. It was clunky, it was big, it didn't have good gas mileage. They failed a lot, but from every failure, they learned something. And so we kept that as kind of in our minds when we were problem solving at the company. We were put into problem solving groups and we learned the story. It was got an emotional story. Like, we are part of a legacy of making the world better, making things more efficient, making higher quality. So anyway, that was something that was instilled, and those stories helped to build our skills. So we're getting to the end of our presentation here. So I just want to let you know we don't have a lot more to cover, but this is really important. What are the activities that have helped you to develop? What have you done? What have you seen? What have you have learned? Or what stories can you tell to make all of us better leaders? So I'm going to actually recreate those rooms so you have different people every time. I'll give you about 5 minutes, and this will be one of our last breakouts. Go ahead and get into your room. All right. Oh, we had such a great conversation in our groups. Can we get some people to just share one thing? And what I loved about my group is we told some stories, and those stories were memorable. And remember, leaders tell great stories because people remember that. They'll remember something you told them that was vivid, that, oh, this happened because I did this. So I love that. Good leaders tell great stories, and they listen to other people's stories and say, I have a story like that. I could tell a similar story. All right. So Paul had a great example. Paul, could you share that? What did you share in our group? Just share it here with the larger group.
I was just mentioning that taking chances in business, and when you move into a new role that's totally different with different people, different experience, maybe different products and opportunities, that's a great opportunity to allow someone to build their leadership capabilities and learn.
Absolutely. New roles, new opportunities, new excitement. Igor also had really a great insight. Would you just share what you shared in our group?
Yes, it's important to understand and listen to people who are in front of you or in your team to understand their reasons and explain your background or your reasons that you have this position, that they will understand better you why you take these decisions, because you are the right person in the position. This is my comments.
No, that was great. So Igor was saying people have to know the why before they know the what. And so important. Why are we doing this before we tell them what to do? And know your team. I loved what you said about know each team member, because it's kind of like nourishment. Those of you who, you know, go to the gym, some of us go to the gym all the time and we eat properly and we still have trouble with keeping our weight, right? Other people, they eat whatever they want. They don't go to the gym. They're fine. It's the same thing at work. Different people need different nourishment, different amount of encouragement. Everybody is not the same. So the more we pay attention to our leaders and our workers, the more in tune we are to understand what they need, not what we need. Very good. One more example from your breakout.
Sure, I can talk. For me, you know, being a customer before becoming a supplier, it kind of helped a lot. Because I used to deal with supplier as a customer and develop products, and now it's the other way around. I'm in sales, so now I have customers. So even, you know, for my organization, I sometimes put myself in the place of the customer and see where they're coming from, and argue the other way. So if we have an upcoming meeting, I ask all the tough questions, putting myself in the customer shoes. Sometimes they don't like it, but I tell them, guess what? You don't want to be surprised when you get there. But this is a concern from being a customer. So I use that. It kind of helps and makes more effective.
I love that. That's called perspective taking. How, you
Right.
know, how do you look at something? How does someone else look at something? You know, I have kids. My kids are all in their 30s, 30-year-olds, and actually 40, one of them's 40 now, but you know, the way they look at the world is so different. I don't understand it as far as why are you spending your money on video games? You know, so you need to save for a house. You know, it's my perspective, not their perspective, right? So just understanding, well, you know, Mom, we want to have fun. We're young and we want to have fun. We want to enjoy our life. Okay, I don't understand it, but I listen to it. And so it's the same thing. I love that idea of putting yourself in the customer's shoes. All right, anyone else want to add before we move on? I know I told my other group, like, if you guys participate, we could end a little bit earlier. And they're like, I'm participating. Okay. All right. Well, if you think of anything to share, please do. All right, I'm going to go ahead and make sure you guys can see my screen. So at Toyota, I probably made an A3 every other week. You know, the A3 is the size of the paper, and you can break it into any categories you wish, but it's a great problem-solving tool. And for your A3, these are just suggestions. You could have your own, you can make your own format, whatever template you want to use for your program to grow. And when we say we're going to use if you guys ever heard of the GROW model of development, it stands for goal. What do I want to achieve? So as a leader, I know I'm already good at my job, but maybe I need to understand the customer's perspective better. Maybe I need to understand the culture I'm dealing with better. All right. What is my goal? What do I want to do better? And then what's the reality? What am I doing now that works great? And what am I doing now that doesn't work so great? Okay. Can I delegate more? Can I be better at planning? Do I need more accountability? Do I need more technical skills? What is standing in my way? Or maybe standing in my way is my relationship, and I need to get some counseling because it's not going so well at home. That could be something as well. So it could be work related and non-work related. That's a barrier. What's stopping you from being the best version of yourself? Okay, could be anything. And then your options. What can you do? What is within your control to do? So I always tell people this too, and this kind of relates to weight. You know, my daughter's a nutritionist and she's like, what is your goal? You can't have a goal of losing 20 pounds in a month. You're going to starve, right? But my goal is going to be 2 pounds a week. The reality is I still want to have ice cream twice a week. Okay. Barriers are my sugar, can't have sugar. And what are my options? What could I do? I could work out, I could eat less, I could get a workout buddy. You know, these are the same things. It's the same thing with your plan for leadership. So what is your best option? Is your best option, you know, I'd like to work with this person, but I know he or she is too busy. So maybe I'll work with this person because they really know customers and I need to learn that too. So what are my options? And then what do I need to do to get started? Maybe I need to put it on my calendar for tomorrow while I'm still thinking about this, or even today, while I'm still thinking about this training, start it, put it on your calendar. I'm going to ask 3 leaders if they're willing to shadow, see which one is willing. I'm going to write my own plan with my goal. I'm going to, you know, whatever I'm going to do, what will I actually do? And think about do. It should be an action. It should be a verb. All right. So I'm going to write a plan. I'm going to call a leader. So I want you to think about what your A3 would include. You can use the GROW model or not. And then we're not going to do a breakout this time because we've already done a lot of breakouts. I want you to think of a partner from this group. Who would you choose as a partner? Now, I don't want you to send it out to the whole group because everybody might choose the same person. So I want you to send me in chat a direct message of who you would like to partner for this exercise. Who will you partner with? Can you partner with somebody in this group to just have someone to check in with you? Someone who will say, did you choose a leader? Do you have a plan? So go ahead and hit the chat. Who would you like to be your partner who's already in this group? Who would you like to be a partner? All right. So I'm not seeing anything coming in yet in the chat. Oh, I see somebody. All right. Okay. Okay. All right, we're almost there. Ah. Okay, I think we have everybody. Well, we have a lot of people who want the same person. All right, well, okay. All right. All right, I think we're doing okay. We just have one person here that just is going to be, All right. I'm gonna give you those names. All right. And let me do it to everybody and then okay. All right. So it looks like we have Julia and Michael. Oh, and then we have, I'll do it with Paul and Joseph. Lois and Kirk. And Alvaro. And we have Eric and Mike Wang. Who am I missing? Who am I missing? Anybody? Oh, Mo. Who's going to be Mo's partner? Mo and Igor. Can we do Mo and Igor?
Okay.
All right. Did we get everybody? Is that everybody? Oh, where's Paul? Who's Paul? Paul, did you send me any? Do we have anybody? Do we have an odd number?
Yeah, you have Paul and Joseph. You already have that.
Oh, I had Paul and Joseph. Okay, great. Great. I think I have everybody. And guess what? We only had one person who was requested twice. So that's good. Or actually one person was requested twice, but that's okay. Great. All right. That's your partner. What are you going to do with your plan. We're gonna need to set up a time since we were actually scheduled to go to 12:30. Let me see if I can. I'm gonna see if I can put you in a breakout room with your partner. Okay, so then you can say, what are you gonna do? How are you gonna follow up? And then what else do you need from Delta? And this is the end. Okay, this is our last thing. So I'm gonna try to put you in with your partner. Hold on one second. I will do the breakout rooms. All right, I had a very interesting conversation with my group. I'm not going to tell you who was in my group, but one person said to me, I don't want more work. This is going to be more work. I don't want to do it. Okay, they didn't exactly say that. That's my words. But that was the message I got. And I said, it shouldn't really be more work. It should be something you're already working on. So in my group, we talked about, you know, there's something that the company wants them to improve. And so this would be a good way to work with somebody who has knowledge of how to improve in that one area. So what were some key takeaways from your meeting? Again, we're not trying to make more work for you. We're trying to make it so that you're leaving your legacy with others, you're building your skills, and hopefully maybe what you learn will help you to delegate more, to find more efficient ways to do things, to improve your skills in some way that your job gets easier in the long run. Let's hope. That's the goal. So what else? What other things did you talk about? Just a quick wrap up, because we're right at the end of our session here. We're wrapping up soon. So last shares.
Some of the organization is small, so the resources are not local to acquire.
Okay, but you can still do a Zoom meeting maybe, or I don't know.
Perhaps, yes.
Perhaps. Okay. All right. What else?
I was talking about my situation here in Brazil. I am the general manager for Brazil, so I don't have anybody like above me to really shadow. And my plan is to talk to my directors to, you know, give me their feedback on what they really think I need to improve. So I can, after getting this, I can decide who I will be shadowing and try to make a plan and everything.
I think that's brilliant. You know, maybe I think I need to improve my speaking skills, but somebody else says, no, you really need to improve this. And so I love the fact that you're going to other people to say, hey, I'm starting this program. They're asking me to build a skill. What's the most important area that I need to improve in? What do you see? All right, Monica's thumbs up. I like that. I love it. Get that 360 feedback. Customers, people you supervise, people you interact with. Love it. Because what I think I need, you know, it goes back to the whole weight thing. I think I need to lose 20 pounds. Maybe I look good like this. All right. Maybe. Oh, maybe not. I know you're shaking your head now. Still, maybe 10 pounds. All right. Anyone else? All right. I know you guys have been so good for a 2-hour program, and hopefully we've learned. So before the next meeting, we have a meeting on October 5th. Again, how do we do? What's working? What's not working? Hopefully you've chosen you've shadowed and you've had some good experiences, and maybe not some good experiences that you could share with the group. What works? You're going to check in with your partner before that meeting several times. What's going well? What did I learn? So make sure you're checking in. You guys know. And next meeting, you're going to come tell us how you're doing. What's working? What's not? What did you learn? What could we, if we're going to do this program again with another group, how can we do it better? How can we do it faster, easier, more efficiently? How can we continue to build talent when we know Delta's going to need it in the future? Okay. And what do you need from us, from HR? All right. So I just want to say that the next meeting will be my last one with Delta. I am retiring. So I expect you all to come and make my last meeting exciting and memorable and full of great stories. Okay. Because I don't want to go out going, oh my goodness, I should have retired before. Okay. I don't want to do that. Okay.
By the way, what is the expectation? How long are we involved in this program? Is the next meeting the end date for our activity and our effort, or what's the expectation here?
So I don't want to answer for Monica, but what I understand is, you know, it's going to be up to the two people involved, you and the person you're shadowing. Do you want to continue this relationship? Is it working? Is it great? Do you want to choose somebody else? Do you want to put it on pause for now and then maybe start up with someone else at a later time? So I'm going to give it to Monica. Monica, is there an expectation of the length of the program beyond October 5th?
Hi, Paul. It's a very good question. It's actually we just when we decide this shadowing program, we think it's very, very powerful. We want to have this concept, you know, share to important and key talents you in Delta. However, we do face a challenge that you all locate in different location, and you may not be able to find, you know, we may not be able to match you with some leaders that fit your leadership preference, development needs. So then we end up, you know, decided that why don't we just spend an hour and a half and group you together in an online training that share the purpose and the methodology, the concept, and then leave a few days. I think it's in between the first section and second section. So that for you to bring this, you will get all the slides, so you can think about and talk with your partner to, you know, kind of, you know, when we talk to somebody else, sometimes something will come to our mind. So if you learn from this section and through the conversation with your partner, you decided to practice a little bit from the learning needs or whatever, you think you can leverage the shadowing expertise, and then you do it. We hope that we can schedule a second section that you share back to the team here so that others can understand what you have been practiced during this period. So I quite like, you know, one of the breakout room that people share with me that I asked them, how do you feel about today's training section? They say, it's quite good. It's a new concept, very straightforward. And it's good that for me, you know, during busy office hour, I can reserve some time for my own development. So like what Rianne say, we are not aiming for giving more homework. No, you suit yourselves. Our goal and our role, Stephanie, myself, is to put things together to make sure this first section is with all the resource you need. And then you make your own choices, whether you want to take it or not. And we hope that if you practice a little bit in the second section, each of us can share what's the experience you had using this shadowing, specifically on leadership development. We know shadowing can be a lot of things. The other day, I share with 3A that my girl, I share with Dave Moose. I shadow my girl, my daughter, because she told me, you know, she's happy. I asked her, oh, what makes you happy? One thing makes you happy today. She say, Mom, I'm happy for everything happened today. So I decided to shadow with her on this inspiration for every day, right? So shadow can happen in every role, but I asked the team here specifically on your leadership, because I do believe just one tweak of our leadership, that will make our life really, really different. Yeah. Hope I answer your question, Paul. Yeah. You know, question always can get more. So encourage teams here can, yeah, whenever you have a question in mind, you can bring it up here. We still have a little bit time. Rie, you
Unmuted. I know. My computer tells me that too, as soon as I start. So we know that shadowing, what we learned what it is and what we expect from you. It is time now. You have all been selected. You're like in this pilot program, right? We're seeing what's going to work for Delta, and we chose you as the top talent to be part of this program, and we'll expect feedback from you. We know that you're going to continue to grow no matter what, and hopefully this experience will help you to grow even more. All right, and that is it. You got to get started. I love this quote by Disney. The way to get started is to quit talking and start doing. So get it done. And if you have any more questions, we are here to answer you. And I am here today through your broker, AJ Gallagher, who's providing this training to you. And I appreciate, that's it. No more share. So if anybody has any questions, comments, we appreciate your participation. Those of you who really participated during the breakout rooms, I really enjoyed listening to you. And I think you have so much experience. Don't undervalue that experience that you could share with others. Questions,
Yeah.
comments? Questions, comments?
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mike. All right, I'm going to stop recording. So if anybody wants to say anything.